So we actually forgot about this ball python that's been in our freezer for over a year. So we decided it was time to tan it. We thawed it out, and the first step is to lay it out flat and do some fleshing. Snakes in general don't require a lot of fleshing, but the more meat, fat, and membrane you can get off, the better end result you're gonna have. The first step is to mix a salt bath. So you're gonna add the salt and then use some warm water to dissolve it. Stir the salt so that it's completely dissolved, and it's not shown here, but we also added a half a teaspoon of bleach. This will help control the bacteria. Once the salt is dissolved, go ahead and put the skin in, open it up so the salt can get to all sides. We soaked it for 4 to 6 hours in the salt bath. Next, you're gonna drain it and rinse the salt off of the skin. The next step is the actual tan bath. So the amount of snake tanning agent you use is going to be dependent on the length of the skin. Again, put it in warm water, stir it to dissolve. Once it's cooled, then you can go ahead and apply the snakeskin. Again, go ahead and open up the skin so that the tan can get to all sides. We're going to put it in the bath and we're going to let this soak for 14 hours. After the allotted soak time, the skin is now turned into leather. You can see it's stretched, it's firm, it's nice and bright. So we're gonna go ahead and drain it. And then you're just gonna hang it to dry just until it's damp. Next, this is a good time if you wanna do some extra fleshing just to thin that down. Next, you're gonna lay the skin scale side up on a piece of plastic. Get it nice and flat, really flatten out those belly scale areas. And if you want to descale it, now's the time to do it. It's nice and firm after tanning and before you oil it. So the next step is to oil it. The snake oil's purpose is to soften the skin and keep it soft and stretchy. So starting at the head, apply a nice generous coat of oil and work your way down with the grain of the scales. Really work it in, especially around the belly area where it's thicker. Rub it in nice and good. When it sit for a while, go back and rub it in again all the way down to the tail. Next, let this sit for an hour or two and then flip it over, keeping the skin on the plastic so the flesh side is up. Now you're going to apply a more generous coat to the flesh side and really rub that in just like you did on the scale side all the way down to the tail. Let this sit for an hour or two and then flip it over again, keeping it on the plastic, and this time let it dry overnight with the scale side up. Here's day 2 of drying off of the plastic. As you can see, the thinner areas like the head are drying quicker. Down to the middle. Okay, got some drying going on in the middle here. All the way down to the tail. Next, after the skin is dried for 2 to 3 days, when it's still semi-wet, is when you're really going to want to work this, especially these constrictor snakes that are really thick. You're going to want to stretch it, roll it, pull it, tug on it, anything to break up those fibers. This is what's going to keep it soft. Tip, if you don't get to it in a full day and you don't want it to dry stiff overnight, just put it in a plastic bag for, 6 to 8 hours, and that will keep it from drying too soon until you can get to work to it. Again, here's another step. If you want to thin it down some more, you can still do it while the skin is dried. It'll help get some of that thicker areas off. When you're doing the head, just use the smaller tool and just be careful around those tender areas. So the final step in your tanning project is to do some trimming. Of course, this is optional, but I like to trim a little bit of the belly scales away. That helps give it a cleaner look. It's a little bit softer, and you can kind of shape the skin the way you want to. So trimming will also give it a different shape, how you want the snakeskin to look. After it's tanned, if you still have some stubborn scales that you want to remove, now's a good time to do that too. Just take a wire brush and gently remove those. Okay, so here it is, the final product. You're gonna have a nice, soft, stretchy skin that's nice and bright and ready for display.